we do look at the studies of organic versus conventional produce, assuming they consume the exact same amount, there's not really any difference in their health outcomes.
First of all, there are very few true long-term randomized controlled trials that compare full organic versus conventional diets. Most only test short-term or single food swaps.
This is true because if you understand how randomized controlled trials work, it means putting people into randomized groups and controlling for all variables or as many variables as you can. In short, and especially in humans, that means getting enough people in the hundreds to sit in a lab and control all of their meals for every single meal for whatever you determine long-term is. Let's say a year. And for that year, you standardize their diets and standardize their stress and standardize their exercise. That would be pretty difficult to do logistically, right?
But that being said, every single one of those 3 studies that he cited actually found better health outcomes among people who ate more organic food. Across all 3 reviews, higher intake of organic food was linked to lower risk of infertility, birth defects, allergies in kids, ear infections, preeclampsia, metabolic syndrome, obesity, and certain cancers, especially non-Hodgkin lymphoma and colorectal cancer. Short-term trials also showed significant drops in pesticide metabolites in urine when people switched to organic diets, meaning lower exposure to those chemicals that are linked to cognitive and metabolic issues and some cancers. The researchers consistently noted that while the macronutrient levels aren't much different, organic foods tend to have higher levels of beneficial compounds like antioxidants, iron, magnesium, and vitamin C, not to mention phytonutrients, some of which are known to help reduce risk of cancer. So no, these studies don't actually show no difference. They actually show multiple promising associations between higher intake of organic food consumption and better health outcomes, which makes me wonder, did this guy actually read the papers that he cited, or did he just throw them up on the screen and hope that nobody would?
I just want you guys to know I made some notes of all of her major arguments here so that I don't miss anything. But if I do miss anything and you wanted me to cover it, make sure you leave a comment down below. Because, sorry. So she said that all 3 of the studies that I cited noted better outcomes for people that consumed organic versus non, or organic versus conventional. A decreased risk of infertility, a decreased risk of birth defects, a decreased risk of allergens in kids, decreased ear infections, decreased preeclampsia, which by the way was a 5.3% relative risk decrease, and had no control group. And the study itself showed that you couldn't make a causal link from it, which is explicitly written for people like her because they're going to make that claim anyways. And a decrease in metabolic syndrome, a decrease in obesity, and a decrease in certain cancers, especially non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and colorectal cancer, which decreases its risk when you consume more fiber. So a lot of these studies are observational. And what they noted was that higher consumption of organic produce decreased all of these risks. True. Now, pretend you're a scientist. If you were to collect all of these surveys from people and people were to tell you that they consumed lots of organic produce, assuming that all of that is correct, do you think that those same folks will consume more fruits and vegetables in general than the people that consume conventional? Because that's what they found in the literature, which is why they made the conclusions that I posted. The way that this research is conducted shows that people that consumed higher amounts of organic produce saw these decreased benefits, but they didn't necessarily find increased benefits from the people that consumed the same amount but in conventional, at least not a statistically significant amount. So while I'm not going to sit here and bash the creator, although to be honest, I'm asking myself why I'm not, but instead I'm going to use this as an opportunity to teach you how this research is collected. Remember, she herself admitted that the research showed that the macros were similar on organic and non. However, she said that organic food had higher levels of beneficial compounds, including antioxidants, iron, magnesium, and vitamin C. But going back to how the research is conducted, this is really important because they're looking at total volume of consumed organic foods. Meaning, if you are consuming more organic produce than the person who is not consuming as much, that is likely that you are going to be consuming less other things like ultra-processed foods. So that's obviously going to lead to you being leaner because we know that eating more fruits and vegetables, regardless of organic or not, will lead to a leaner person with lower risk of disease, irrespective of whether it's organic or conventional. So if people are leaner when they consume more produce, I don't know what happened to my microphone for this last part, but just to summarize, if somebody that is consuming more produce is leaner, regardless of conventional or organic growing practices, they will be leaner and they will have decreased risk of chronic disease. But if you're like me and you read through all the literature, you'll know that there is no significant difference, including the nutrient profile of these foods. And you'll know that what I'm saying is not to avoid organic food, and I'm assuming that's why she took it out of context. My goal is to get you to eat more produce in general. Organic, conventional, whatever you can afford, whatever you like. If it makes you feel holier than thou to consume organic, go for it. Just know that if you can't afford that route, going conventional is just as good, going frozen is good, going canned is good, and whatever you can afford is great. Remember, I love you guys. I want you guys to live a long and healthy and happy life. So if you want to do that, make sure you hit that follow button, get that stress and negativity out of your life, and I'll see you guys in the next one.